In the late 80s, white middle-class constituents of Yonkers, New York, railed against a federally mandated low-income desegregated housing project. The new HBO miniseries Show Me a Hero follows the drama that unfolded. It's directed by Academy Award winner Paul Haggis, who joins us now from our downtown Toronto studio. Good morning. Thanks for being on the show this morning. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me a little bit about this project and kind of, what attracted you to it. It's based on a story that actually happened in Yonkers. It ripped the city apart. What was it about this story, this project, that you wanted to be a part of?
Well, the fact that when you think about public housing, you think about desegregation, you talk about issues of race, you're usually thinking of the 60s in the South. And this was taking place in New York City, just 30 minutes north of where I live in Manhattan, Yonkers, New York, and it was happening in 1987 through 1993. In fact, it's happening now, still, in Westchester there. So I like telling stories about us, not pointing fingers at those bad people someplace else. And so this really appealed to me, that it talked about not just race, it talked about the possibility of politics and how in America, but also elsewhere, we've come to a point where we govern by fear rather than common sense. Common sense is not something that's valued in politics anymore.
It's interesting that you say that because, central, obviously, to the series is Yonkers mayor, who's played by Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
So he's campaigning, and I guess originally against this housing project that has been ordered to be put up. But then he becomes mayor and then realizes he has no choice.
He starts off on the wrong side of the issue. He's an opportunist. He just wants to be mayor. He has no issues to stand on, so he stands on this one. It doesn't really care one way or the other. And then before he wins, and before he's even inaugurated, they lose the appeal, and he has to build these houses. And suddenly was, they can't blame me, right? I mean, it's not my fault. Well, yeah, of course they can blame you. And you see, he has to step up and become one of the heroes that we talk about in this movie, and there are very few. In fact, it would be hard to say that he was an out-and-out hero. He's a very flawed human being, and who has a very rough road ahead of him in this show.
Okay, and I just want to show a quick clip of that, just so we get a sense of Oscar Isaac playing the mayor.
Yeah.
The Yonkers City Council is now in session. Mr. Clerk. Please take your seats.
Excuse me, Mayor. This is my first meeting.
What do you do with this? Any idea?
So, in the scene that we just showed, I mean, obviously, he's trying to wrest control of this session. People are furious. Largely, I guess, the group of mainly, white area of Yonkers going against this project. Let me ask you about the mayor himself, because I understand, and I think I saw the mayor's widow in real life was actually on the set at one point.
Yes. No, she was our technical consultant, and I was Cisco, and so he was quite an interesting man. He was at 27. He was the youngest mayor of any major American city, and he was really a comer. He was a guy who could have gone a long way in politics. And he saw them there throwing diapers at him. That's what they did. They'd go home to your mother, baby mayor. They had it out for him. But it was not him. It was nothing about him. It was just the fact that this fear of these people coming to these pristinely white neighborhoods that they wanted to protect. And the thing is, the fascinating thing is, what I wanted to instill in this is that these people weren't wrong. There aren't two sides of the situation where you can go, oh, villains and heroes. If you look at these projects like Schlobum in Yonkers, these are horrible places. Horrible places. They're stacked on top of each other. They warehouse the poor there, and drugs and crime, awful. So you ask somebody, well, do you want some of that on your street? Well, I don't want it on mine, no matter how big a liberal I am. So this is what happened here was a few people tried to bring common sense, as I said, to this argument, and said, do we have to continue building this public housing this way? Can't we make it fit into the fabric of the middle-class neighborhood? And a couple of the characters, one, Oscar Newman, his character's name was, fought the right, fought the left, fought City Hall, fought the NAACP, fought HUD, everybody to try and make something make sense here. And that was, no one wanted to hear it.
Yeah, but and there's so many discussions out of that, many of which, you know, we've certainly had in this country as well when we talk about public housing. It's a fascinating project.
Yeah.
Paul Haggis, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.